It's a Friday, everybody. Welcome back to the stream and happy weekend officially as soon as we're done with the stream, except not for me because I have lots of work meetings this afternoon, but that's okay because they are all good things. Talking to two different brands this afternoon about really fun opportunities to work together and highlight some amazing, amazing companies along the way. So thank you guys for sending over all of your suggestions on my Instagram story polls a couple of weeks ago about brands you wanted to see me work with. You guys are already roasting me in the chat. I see that I am in fact a white woman. If you saw my video from earlier today, yes, I am USDA certified white woman. It's a good time to be alive and a good time to laugh. And in case you guys didn't already see my other video this afternoon either, I have fan-freaking-tastic news to start out the stream because I know it's going to be a little bit of a dystopian story along the way today talking about artificial intelligence, but new data has dropped on suicide rates across the United States from 2022, which sounds like a long time ago, but data takes a really long time to catch up with us, and suicide rates are dramatically dropping for our generation. In fact, among 10 to 14-year-olds, suicide rates in 2022 dropped 18%. For everyone older than that, up to 24 years old in 2022, they dropped 9%. So I'm hugely ecstatic about this information because I feel like we've been talking a lot lately about mental health and the realm of all the crazy things going on for our generation, but that is an exact step in the right direction to making our generation suicide free. So just in case anybody needed to hear this today as we kick off the stream, you are amazing. I am so deeply grateful for you as an individual for being a part of our growing community here on the live stream and in all of my other content. And if you woke up this morning and you've got air in your lungs, God's not done with your story yet. You have a purpose, you have a reason for being here, and you were made with intention for such a time as this. Boom, baby. Good news to kick off the weekend. I'm really hopeful that we don't have any issues on Instagram today. Apparently, it came out last night that they've had a server issue the last few days. So I know it's been like skipping every 10 seconds or so, and we had to turn it off early last night. But so far, everything is looking good on Instagram and everywhere else. So welcome, and we're really glad you guys are here. As I kind of alluded to just a second ago, we are going to be talking about AI today and the future of artificial intelligence from a few different angles. I'm sure you guys are already familiar a bit with the whole Taylor Swift AI porn story that is taking over the internet and Congress and social media in general this week. So we'll touch on that on the latter half of things. But first, there is the world's first AI, completely artificial intelligence model that I believe is going to completely negate and erase the modeling industry at large based on what we're going to be talking about today out of Barcelona, Spain, or should I say Barcelona, Spain, because that is the correct way to say it in the region. Any Spaniards in the chat, we'd love to see you guys pop up. So it's a crazy story. I can't wait to get into it with you guys. But first, please do me a huge favor as we kick things off today and hit the like button on this stream so that more people can participate in the conversation. I'm dying to get your guys' opinions and your thoughts and perspectives on AI and if it's a good thing for society or a really terrible direction that we're going in. That like button might look like a little thumbs up or a little heart depending on where you're watching. And if you've watched before, you know the drill. Most importantly, smash that follow or subscribe button if you guys haven't already to help grow our completely independent channels. We rely on you guys for all of our growth, and it's been a really exciting couple of months across all of our channels. None of it would be possible without you guys, but we want to go to the freaking moon. We are very excited about it. Okay, let's dive right in. I got not a text, a DM sent to me this morning from my fiance as he was getting ready to go to work, and he said, oh my gosh, you really need to talk about this on the stream today. So I pulled up this news article that he sent me on Instagram from The Telegraph, which is a UK-based publication, about something I had never heard of before, but totally makes a lot of sense if I think about it in the grand scheme of things. And it's an AI model, a completely artificial intelligence model. So this girl doesn't exist. We've seen similar concepts to this pop up in the past few months. Just a few weeks ago, our awesome friend Joe Bob joined us on the stream, and we talked about Meta's new AI influencers that they're paying celebrities astronomical sums of money, everyone from Kylie Jenner to Mr. Beast and everybody in between. But now all of a sudden this is carrying over outside of just the influencer industry to modeling as well. And I think will ultimately take over acting and singing in the music industry and all kinds of other stuff too. But this is just the first step in that direction. So I open this DM that I get from my fiance and I'm immediately like, WTF is going on in the world? I cannot wrap my head around this. This is again from The Telegraph, and it was a DM he sent me on Instagram that this girl, Aitana Lopez, doesn't exist. She's not real, but she's a professional model who is booking actual paid gigs from major brands and corporations all over the world to sport their gear, but not even in real life, coded through a telephone or through an AI project on your computer. Don't know why I said telephone. It's Friday afternoon. We need another cup of coffee. This girl is booking brand deals with some of like the biggest brands on the face of the planet, making unbelievable sums of money doing so in the process. She's 25, but is she really? Because she's not actually a human being. So that's up for debate, up for grabs, I guess. And here's what The Telegraph had to say about this. To me, this is wildly dystopian. This should not be normal whatsoever. You guys might disagree. So if you think this is cool or high tech or like something good to invest in the future, please speak up in the chat. If you agree with me, though, I think you're probably a pretty sane person. At the very least, is this cool and can we appreciate it? Yes, but it's also weirdly one of the most dystopian things that I've ever seen in my life. The Telegraph says, the best thing about Aitana Lopez, who's 25, again, not real because she's not a real person, from her boss's point of view, is that she does not exist. That sentence in isolation, can we just take that back, just that sentence? The best thing about this AI model is that she doesn't exist, according to her bosses, because she doesn't complain, she doesn't take sick days, she never wants to go on vacation, she can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That in isolation should be freaking you out that somebody's boss is saying that. Lopez, in fact, does not need to be paid at all. She works all hours of the day and night, never takes holidays, or falls ill, or complains. And this is her. She looks impossible to exist because it is impossible for her to exist. She's not a real human being. She's an AI rendering of a human being. So we thought we had body positivity issues in the modeling industry before. Just you wait. Just you wait. Lopez is only one of thousands of AI influencers and models who are rapidly becoming big business. What did I just say about the body positivity thing? That's all I'm saying. Her Instagram account, this was as of December 5th, so there's an update here, which had at the time nearly 200,000 followers. We're going to look at her account here in just a second. Shows her in outfits from brands including Victoria's Secret, Brandy Melville, and Guess. I'm not sure if those are brands that the AI rendition of a person, has booked with actual brands, or the people who created this account just rendered these images just because to get more attention on the account. But already, regardless of who the brand is, for her modeling work, she makes about 10,000 euros per month. 10,000 euros per month for someone that doesn't exist. Her creators are a Spanish company called The Clueless out of Barcelona, and they are a big company. We'll talk about them here in just a second. But the company owners of The Clueless conjured her, creepy word, as a solution to the inefficiencies of dealing with human models. Inefficiencies like you having to eat, and inefficiencies like you getting sick or having to sleep or needing to take a vacation day every once in a while, or I don't know, needing to get paid as a human being for your job. They get to bypass all of these inefficiencies by just creating a fake person who has never existed, is not real, but is booking the same modeling gigs as an actual human model would have a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So that article that was by The Telegraph was on December 5th. And obviously, if you fast forward now, we're on February 2nd. In the last month or so, Aitana's account has gained over 70,000 followers. She's nearing 300,000 followers on Instagram. She's called a virtual soul. And this account actually does remind me a whole lot of the Meta accounts where they're paying Kylie Jenner and Mr. Beast and everybody in between to make these fake AI influencers, but this is more specific to the modeling industry. So we're going to scroll through here and just take a look at this. She's called a digital creator. That's the category of her profile, but she's not a creator. She's created by someone else. She's Barcelona's digital muse at The Clueless, which is this AI company, a gamer at heart and a fitness lover. But are you really, if you are not a real human being? Can you be a gamer at heart and a fitness lover if you literally cannot go to the gym or ever play a video game? I don't know. That's a question of existential crisis for this day and age, I suppose. So then you start scrolling through all of her pictures, and I think this is just wild. She looks like a real person. Like, it looks consistent enough that it is the same person that you're seeing in all of these pictures, but they're clearly oriented towards the modeling industry. Sometimes they're a little more casual, like this is her on an airplane, just chilling out in the airplane. This one's a little sexier up in the top corner. It's her on a snow day, so it humanizes her and makes her real. She's wearing Nike in this picture, and I'm not actually sure if this is a gig that they booked with Nike or not. I really wouldn't be surprised if it was. Lots and lots of crop tops for abdominal muscles that are almost impossible, if not actually impossible to achieve. Lots of modeling core vibes on this account. Oh, we've got a weird cutout tank top that is not really a full shirt. We've got lingerie photos and bikinis popping up. We've got almost a nip slip in this photo right here. But it's not real because it's not a real human being. So that makes you question literally everything. And she posts all the time, but they are all photos. They're not videos quite yet. I'm sure we will get to the technology capabilities and capacity to make these videos, but they're modeling. She's modeling brands. She's modeling clothes. She's modeling lingerie. She's modeling for fitness. And then you see as we get closer to more recent posts, they get more like lifestyle oriented, like this one of her traveling on an airplane, or the one of her at some sort of business event wearing a blazer. It's not quite as scandalous as this one right here, which is pretty scandalous in and of itself. She looks more and more like a real person the closer you get to the most recent post. And that most recent post in the top corner there on the left with her little ponytails, and she's clearly at the airport. She's got a backpack on. That looks like it could be literally anybody's airport selfie, right? This is creepy. I'm not the only person that thinks this is a little bit weird at the very least, right? I cannot be the only person that feels this way. I don't get it. Bobby Black Photography says she's quite gorgeous, but she will also put photographers out of business unless we become the creators. I didn't even think about that. Obviously, I thought about models going out of business and influencers going out of business, but I didn't even think about the photographer side of things. Weird. Sabina says, I can't even with all of this. Just no. Alex says, I'm going to get kicked off of YouTube for showing these images. Sadly, probably not. Only if you talk about actually good things do you get kicked off the internet these days. African Warlord has an interesting opinion on this. Let's weigh our options. Woke model companies who put either men or obese people in women's photo shoots, or sexy AI model who is everything you want in a model and more. It's an interesting juxtaposition is all I'm saying. Mrock says this whole AI thing is so weird to me. It is very weird to me too. I'm not going to lie. It's like the most dystopian thing that I've ever seen. Heidi says you can't make 10 grand with 74 Instagram posts and no other platforms. Her fan view is slashed in half. Well, you can't make 10 grand with 74 Instagram posts as a real human being, but you might be able to in the realm of AI. So apparently that's what's actually happening. And Euronews covered this earlier last week or 2 weeks ago, that this model AI rendition of a human being is actually making 10,000 euros per month. Let's hear what they had to say about it. Aitana, who's 25, they said, is a pink-haired woman from Barcelona. Is she, though? Is she actually, though? Because I don't think she is. Receives weekly private messages from celebrities asking her out. But she's not real. So celebrities are now starting to DM this account and saying, hey, we should go on a date, or I'd really like to get to know you. But she's literally not a real human being. Are we that stupid? Is humanity that unable to distinguish between reality and AI? I guess. They say Aitana, who's the first Spanish model created by artificial intelligence, was born in the middle of a difficult period. Ruben Cruz, who's the designer and founder of that AI agency, The Clueless, we were just talking about, was going through a rough patch because he didn't have many clients. He said, we started analyzing how we were working and realized that many of our projects were being put on hold or canceled due to problems beyond our control. Often it was the fault of the influencer or model and not due to design issues. So they decided to create their own influencer as a model for the brands that approached them. They created Aitana, who's an exuberant 25-year-old pink-haired woman from Barcelona whose physical appearance is close to perfection. Well, obviously it's close to perfection because it's quite literally not physically possible to look like this as a real human being. The virtual model can earn up to 10,000 euros a month, according to her creator, but the average is around 3,000 euros per month. We did it so that we could make a better living and not be dependent on other people who have egos, who have manias, or who just want to make a lot of money by posing, said the owner of this Clueless agency. On one hand, as an entrepreneur, I have to kind of respect the hustle and the idea behind this because they saw the opportunity and they just grabbed it with everything they got and ran with it to make as much money as humanly possible, not having to rely on an actual physical workforce and labor from individuals. So on one hand, I'm like, that's actually a genius concept. If you're looking to have a secondary source of income and you have access to great AI technology, you might as well lean into it, steer into the skid. On the other hand, I think this sets the scariest precedent for just erasing actual people, which is one of the huge downsides of AI that I've ever seen. Like this precedent that we are setting is potentially the death of an entire industry that feeds into other creative industries as well in modeling, right? Modeling isn't just about the person that is so freakish as a human being that they have these impossible proportions and they look beautiful in every photo that they took and they have this unique quality about them. Modeling is also about the photographers. It's also about the brands that design the clothes or the accessories or the thing that you are modeling. It's also about the publications that put those images and that marketing out there. It's about the marketing firms that work with these companies to share the message. Like, we're talking about millions upon millions upon millions of people that are directly involved with or impacted by this industry. And should AI models become the new standard because you don't have to rely on people, think of the millions of human beings that are going to be out of a job because of that. And I know the devil's advocate counter to that argument is, well, we've had different industrial revolutions in the past where millions of people were displaced from their jobs because we didn't need them anymore with the dawn of machinery or the dawn of computers or whatever. And AI is just the new version of that as the wheel continues spinning forward on the story of humanity. But I just feel like the downsides associated with artificial intelligence far, far, far outweigh the possible upswing and the coolness and innovation of the technology. And we're going to get to that as to how it pertains to Taylor Swift and the AI adult film industry and where people are getting exploited for their images online in a bit. But let's finish talking about this model first because it's just crazy. They say Aitana's income is quite scattered. She earns just over 1,000 euros per advertisement. That actually, by the way, I will say for me as a content creator, which is kind of similar to modeling, it took years of hustling and making absolutely zero money for me to feel comfortable charging $1,000 for a post on Instagram. And all of a sudden, this brand new AI model is easily charging at least 1,000 euros per advertisement on an account with less than 300,000 followers. That's crazy to me because companies would never say yes immediately to something like that with an account that's still growing. It doesn't have super great engagement. There's not a lot of reachability. Like, that is a lot of growth in the last 2 months or so, going from under 200,000 to almost 300,000 followers. But in the grand scheme of things, that's probably not the best bang for your buck for a company paying for influencer marketing on social media. So absolutely wild to me that they are getting companies to pay this, because that doesn't seem like a very normal rate to be charging. And this account, this person, this fake person, recently became the face of a sports supplement company called Big. And then they said, as if that weren't enough, she uploads photos of herself in lingerie to a platform that is similar to OnlyFans. So she also has an OnlyFans and is doing all of that now, which, why you would pay for that, for AI lingerie photos in a subscription platform, I have absolutely no idea. Chat, I'm right about that, right? Nobody should actually be paying for lingerie photos of an AI person that doesn't exist on OnlyFans. But I suppose stranger things have happened in the world that we live in. In just a few months, Euronews said she has managed to gain more than 121,000 followers on Instagram, and her photos get thousands of views and reactions. She even receives private messages from celebrities who are unaware that she is not an actual person. So they are unaware, I suppose. Humanity, we are dumb. We're stupid. One day, a well-known Latin American actor texted to ask her out. This actor has about 5 million followers, and some of our team watched his TV series when they were kids. He had no idea that she didn't exist. These are the designers of this AI model at their AI firm out of Barcelona in Spain. And here's how this whole process works. Every week, the agency team has a meeting to create Aitana's life. They decide what she's going to do during the week, which places she will visit, and which photos will be uploaded to feed the followers who want to know about her. Hey, you know what I just noticed, actually? Her name starts with AI. Duh. See, you know what? We are smart enough to figure these things out, people. If you just pay attention, the devil's in the details. You'd think people are smart enough to figure all of this stuff out, is all I'm saying. They decide what she will do during the week, which places she will visit, and which photos will be uploaded. Oh, I said that already. But there are no photo shoots, no wardrobe changes, just a mix of AI and design experts who use Photoshop to make it possible for the model to spend the weekend in Madrid, for example. In the first month, they said, we realized that people follow lives, not images. Since she is not alive, we had to give her a bit of reality so that people could relate to her in some way. We had to tell a story, says the graphic designer. That's why Aitana, unlike traditional models whose personalities are usually not revealed so that they can be a blank canvas for designers, has a very distinct personality. She was created as a fitness enthusiast, determined, and with a complex character. On her website, she defines herself as outgoing and caring. So this is super interesting to me because they're clearly not following the traditional model route here in trying to have as little of a personality as possible that you can fit into any brand that wants to book you. They're clearly trying to follow the influencer and content creator route where the brand is you and you sell yourself as an image, as a lifestyle, as a person to people on the internet. And then the brand is so encapsulated by your story and so in love with your story and enamored by you that they book you and not the other way around. And interestingly, that kind of has bled into the modeling world. Like if you think of the biggest influencers on TikTok or on Instagram, they are typically getting booked now to be models for stuff like Swim Week or even Fashion Week in New York. Anna Sitar, who I'm sure many of you follow on TikTok. I think she is amazing. One of my favorite creators on the internet, has walked in Miami Swim Week now and is doing brand deals with Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Dior. And she has this whole fashion model element to her content now. But the only reason she became super popular on TikTok was because she created Another Day, Another Starbies videos on TikTok over and over and over again during 2020 when we were all bored at home. And now she's taking a lot of the same gigs that it would take years and years for a model traditionally in the modeling sense to get to. And I think that's actually kind of cool because I'm a content creator. That's how I continue to make a living every day. Instead of taking cute pictures of myself in Louis Vuitton. We talk about the trending news of the day and what's going on with current events and culture, but selling the person as the brand, I think in real life, let alone AI, already has completely redefined and taken over the modeling industry. Now that AI can creep into this, though, and you can create fake personas that have a personality and interests and a place to live and where they go every day and what their routine looks like, that's now going to put content creators completely out of a business, which is insane to think about. And in the realm that we live in right now on social media, I say this all the time, and I wrote about it extensively in my new book that's coming out next month. There's so many fake elements to the internet today. Everything is hyper edited, hyper curated, and glossy and refined and not real. And because of that, I think we've created this edited, curated Instagram feed version of what reality is supposed to look like for our generation, which is probably why we all have anxiety and depression, and why for girls especially our mental health has been so affected in the last few years, despite the amazing news that I told you at the beginning of this stream with suicide rates dropping substantially for our generation. For Gen Z girls in 2021, 1 in 3 teenage girls really seriously contemplated taking her own life in the United States of America. And so it's easy to see how the fake culture we've created on social media likely is playing into that. And I say all the time, the most daring and courageous and attractive thing that you can do on the internet today is to be authentic, to be real, to post things that don't have your makeup on, or cry about a really bad day on TikTok and tell people about how it went so that you can be a relatable, real person, or post a messy room photo because that's just where we're at right now, and that's what real people do. And so I can't help but think about the long-term negative ramifications at the societal level when all of a sudden you're creating real personalities for fake people, and how much that's going to mess with ordinary people, especially teenagers' psychological well-being. The creator of this influencer model person who's not a person says a lot of thought has gone into Aitana. We created her based on what society likes most. That's dystopian AF. We've thought about the tastes, hobbies, and niches that have been trending in recent years. After analyzing trends, they realized that Oriental culture has become very Europeanized in recent years, so they tried to capture her in this pink hair and gamer side. Aitana has been such a success that her designers have already created a second virtual model called Maya, who's a little more shy. Notice again, in Maya's name, they spelled it with AI in the middle. They didn't do M-A-Y-A. They put AI in it. So apparently this is like going to be the dead giveaway now. Sorry if you're a real human being and your name happens to have AI right next to each other in your name. We're all going to assume that you are a fake person from here on out. The names were not chosen at random. What did I just say? Gosh, I'm smart. It's to go for your graduate school degree there in actual science, in STEM. It means something still, not liberal arts. Sorry, all of you pursuing that degree. Both contain the acronym for artificial intelligence, AI, and these are pictures of her as this fitness gamer, oriental nod person that everybody's following as a lifestyle guru now. The agency has been inundated with requests from brands wanting their own personalized model. That's interesting. I didn't even think about that. They want to have an image that is not a real person and that represents their brand values, so there are no continuity problems if they have to fire someone or can no longer count on them. So instead of hiring like a celebrity to be the face of Nike, or an athlete to be the face of Athleta, or hiring a basketball player to represent your shoes, all of a sudden all of these brands want to hire a real or a fake person and create their own internal AI face of their brand so that that person who's not real can always be the face of their brand. That is fascinating. That's fascinating to me. And it actually doesn't surprise me where the article goes from here. There are also cost savings. When the agency who used to work with influencers realized what they were earning, they found it anomalous. Kim Kardashian makes €1 million for an Instagram photo, and she doesn't cure cancer. Nobody earns €1 million for uploading a photo to a social network. It seems absurd to me. The agency believes this could bring down market prices and give a boost to small companies who can't afford big advertising campaigns. However, the initiative is not without its critics, and this is where I'm dying to get your guys' thoughts, so get ready to put them in the chat. Many are concerned that the unrealistic perfection of the models could influence the younger generation to become obsessed with achieving such perfection. There is also criticism of the highly sexualized image of the models created. They took the words right out of my mouth, to which the agency responds that they are simply following the aesthetic already created by real influencers and brands themselves. Disgusting. If we don't follow this aesthetic, i.e. be massively sexualized, brands won't be interested. To change this system, you have to change the vision of the brands. The world in general is sexualized. A lot to think about and talk about there. What do you guys think about this, chat? Do you think AI modeling is a good thing for society? Do you think it's just the next rendition of a technological revolution for society? Is this just the next thing that we have to adapt to? Or do you think this has massive dystopian downstream side effects for society at large that we really shouldn't be ignoring? I would be fascinated to get your thoughts on all of this. S. Pearson says, people are so gullible. Yes, people are so gullible. Oh, this is fascinating. Imperio says these models can't take any legal action against their bosses either for being hypersexualized or booking brands that they don't want to book because they're not a real person. So that's literally disgusting. I hate that. Stev says, goodbye models. Well, yeah, that's about right. I think this really will kill the modeling industry as we know it. As we know it, forever. Let's see what some people on other platforms think. Alex says, nope, nothing good will come from AI models. Red 4 has an interesting thought. I'm more worried about how this is going to affect young boys, especially if said bots begin to use those AI girls to replace human relationships. Okay, that's actually a really interesting perspective because the whole time I was looking at all of these images of this fake human being who doesn't exist, the only thing I could think about was Blade Runner 2049. I don't know if you guys have seen Blade Runner 2049. It was actually a fantastic sequel to the original Blade Runner movies, sequel, spinoff, whatever you want to call it, the one with Ryan Gosling in it. And in that movie, in Blade Runner 2049, everybody has a virtual hologram girlfriend / wife named Joy. And it's basically an AI, artificial intelligence hologram, girlfriend, wife, romantic companion, whatever you want to call it, but everybody has the same person. And so that's actually so interesting with the rise of AI relationships, which are already a thing. Everybody doesn't realize this necessarily per se, but all across the entire world, there are AI girlfriend and boyfriend services that are taking off like crazy. We just talked about one example on the stream a couple of weeks ago that is absolutely petrifyingly scary, with like video chat and on-demand texting with your fake girlfriend that you can build, or boyfriend, but mostly girlfriend, that you can build to look like whatever you want, to talk to you however you want. You basically program her to be your dream girl. In Blade Runner 2049, the fake programmed girlfriend wife Joy looks a lot like this. She has like blue and pink and purple hair. She's a hologram. Her body is literally perfect. She's portrayed by Ana de Armas, who already is freaking perfect in real life anyway. But it's like this impossible standard for a woman that nobody would really be able to achieve in real life. So that's so interesting, Red 4, that you think this is going to create this whole realm of boys not pursuing women later on in life because they'll just use these AI girls to replace human relationships. Fascinating. Nitty Witty says, so they discourage marriage, they discourage long distance travel, no car, limited access to air travel, no house, just a little pod because you will own nothing and be happy. And then people get disconnected from the real world and never get to experience natural beauty firsthand. If you look at AI models only and you chat with AI companions and you stimulate yourself with them and you retreat into an online fantasy world, then you will be happy, according to the overlords from society. Ooh, Magic Def has to weigh in on the dating side of things. Getting turned down by a girl as a boy is a big part of life, but an AI girl will always say yes. Oh, interesting. That is super interesting. Do you guys think this is going to spill over into other industries beyond just modeling and content creation and influencers? Do you think that they would be making, I don't know, AI movies? Do you think actors are going to be out of a job? Do you think we could have AI politicians? Do you think our politicians could be out of a job because it'll just be people coding them? Let's be honest, that's basically already what we're doing with Joe Biden. He's kind of just being re-uploaded and reprogrammed while they plug him in every single night. But do you think that this could be like a real consequence to all of this? I don't even know what the right word is, but Jacob says this is the downfall of humanity. Yeah, well, that's about right, pretty much. And Jenny agrees, AI will end up being our downfall. Yikes. Stev says, next thing you know, we're going to see Michael Jackson again. That's actually so interesting because I was reading a different story earlier this week about a deceased celebrity's estate, his family, who is suing a company for creating AI renditions of him long after he has passed away. So this is a real reality for a lot of public figures that they've been dealing with. Sabina says, oh God, an AI president. Nope, that's just another movie I do not want to come true. Alex says, books could be written by AI. Red4 says, video games. It's only a matter of time before players will be able to interact with NPCs in games. Ooh, I hadn't thought about video games. That's fascinating. Nick Wood says, actors already made that point with the strike. That's a good point. That is a very good point. And Total Package says, yes, this is only the beginning. So we already know that this is spilling over into other areas of society too. And some of the scarier dystopian downstream effects of AI really shouldn't be going unnoticed right now. A lot of people made me aware of a story a few weeks ago that teenage girls are starting to use websites. And by the way, let me just say, teenage girls were already really mean and horrible bullies to each other. It's probably why we were all anxious and depressed and suicidal throughout all of our teenage years. But now teenage girls are starting to use AI porn websites, AI pornographic websites, to put the face of a girl that they're feuding with or like fighting over a guy with or ex-best friends or frenemies or whatever. And they're creating fake pornographic videos of girls that they are fighting with. And I don't think they realize the long-term ramifications of what that looks like. A, it's illegal. It's exploitation of that person. And it's not real. But that type of video is going to follow the girl they made the video of for the rest of her life, even though it's not real. It's not her body. She never agreed to participate in anything like this, and she certainly never agreed to distribute it. But now that's become a reality of these AI coding websites because you're able to create essentially anything you want, even if it has wildly nefarious purposes and horrific outcomes and impacts later on in life. And something similar to this rose to the top of the news cycle a couple of days ago because somebody created an AI porno of Taylor Swift, who was wildly upset that this happened. She's brought it to international media now in the days following this horrifying incident. And lawmakers in America have now proposed a new bill in our United States Congress on anti-non-consensual AI porn, meaning you're not allowed to create porn if you didn't consent to it and you've created it using AI. That would be a criminal offense at the federal level, and there would be serious ramifications associated with that. The Verge covered this pretty well, and I thought this was interesting information to share with you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if this type of legislation starts to take hold all over the planet because it's becoming such a crazy, crazy reality for all of us to be living through right now. This is called the Disrupt Explicit Forced Images and Non-Consensual Edits Act, or the Defiance Act. If you don't live in America, you might not realize our lawmakers basically try to create a acronym out of every single bill or resolution that they introduce to society. So that's not that weird of a name. There have been much weirder, but the Defiance Act is adding a civil right of action for intimate digital forgeries depicting an identifiable person without their consent, letting victims collect financial damages from anyone who knowingly produced or possessed the image with the intent to spread it. Interesting. So I was actually wrong. It wasn't a criminal offense that they're creating for this. I'm sure it already is a criminal offense to distribute even AI pornography, especially if somebody non-consensually is participating in it. They didn't know that they were going to be a part of this video. It looks like this bill would add a civil action aspect to all of this, meaning you as an individual can sue for damages, the person that created that video, and collect financial damages from anyone who distributed it, who possessed it, or who produced it. This has gained massive bipartisan support among all of the United States Senate at the moment. It was introduced by the Senate Majority Whip, who currently is Dick Durbin, a Democrat from Illinois, and it was co-signed and sponsored by Senator Lindsey Graham, Amy Klobuchar, and Josh Hawley, all of whom we talked really negatively about earlier this week in their quest to ban social media. So that's fascinating. And it added a similar right of action for non-faked explicit images. So if somebody actually took a picture of you without your consent, let alone if it went through AI. The sponsors described it as a response to the exponentially growing volume of digitally manipulated AI images, and they specifically referenced the Taylor Swift case as an example of how fake AI pornographic videos can be used to exploit and harass women, particularly public figures, politicians, and celebrities. Here's some interesting numbers for you and just general growth of this stuff. The Verge says pornographic AI manipulative images, frequently referred to as deepfakes, which is probably the word you guys have heard this referred to as, have grown in popularity and sophistication since the term was coined in 2017. Off-the-shelf generative AI tools have made them far easier to produce, even on systems with guardrails against explicit imagery or impersonation, and they've been used previously for harassment and blackmail. But so far, there is no clear legal redress in any parts of the United States. Nearly all states have passed laws banning unsimulated, non-consensual pornography, though that's been a slow process. Far fewer have laws addressing simulated imagery. There is no federal criminal law directly banning either type. Okay, so I was wrong earlier. There is no criminal punishment for doing something like this. How? They're locking people up in federal prison for 11 years for sitting on the ground in front of an abortion clinic, but we have no criminal punishment for creating deepfake porn of anybody. That's just fascinating. So this Defiance Act is supposed to be helping with this. It was introduced in response to this AI stuff, but it's not limited to just AI. It counts a forgery as any intimate sexual image created by software, machine learning, artificial intelligence, or any other computer-generated or technological means to appear to a reasonable person to be indistinguishable from an authentic visual depiction of the individual. That includes real pictures that have been modified to look sexually explicit, like photoshopped. Its language seemingly applies to older tools like Photoshop, like I just said, as long as the result is sufficiently realistic. Adding a label marking the image as AI doesn't remove the liability either. So that's just one of countless downstream negative effects of what AI is doing to humanity, particularly women in society. And even though the technology associated with creating an AI influencer or an AI model might be really cool and flashy and a fascinating way to deal with labor shortages or make more money for yourself or your company, the morality in me is just saying immediately no. Like, nothing actually good can come about from creating the downstream effects of what this might be. But that's just my personal opinion. It's just absolutely crazy to me that people are buying into all of this stuff and liking it. That's wild. Wild. Legendary Star-Lord says it will become regulated. Oops, I missed it. It went away. I gotta scroll back up. It will become regulated, but regulations usually come as a response, so all of this stuff has to play out normally. Well, that's a fascinating reality to think about. It's just going to get crazier, my friends. Crazier and crazier with every passing day. But I appreciate you weighing in on the debate. I think there's a lot more to unfold before society even remotely knows how to deal with AI imagery, AI deepfake videos, AI models and celebrities and influencers. This sadly is just the beginning, but I'm sure it's going to get a whole hell of a lot crazier before it gets any better. Before you guys go, because it's a Friday and we're having a little bit of fun this afternoon, we are going to jump over to locals here in just a second, but I'm dying to get your guys' thoughts as we are booking for this new month that we just started, and the next couple of months rather. If there's any guest that you guys are dying to see on the stream, or any topic that you're really looking for us to cover on the live stream every day, we want to make this as much about you guys as possible, about our community as possible. It's not just what I want to talk about, it's also subjects that you guys are requesting. So we're going to take a second here and just drop in the chat any guests, any topics, any general musings about the stream that you guys are looking for in the next couple of weeks and months, as we have a whole lot of really fun stuff to be sending your way. We also have a really exciting thing coming up in just a few weeks, and that is the launch of my new book coming out March 19th. I'm dropping the link in the chat right now for everybody except Instagram, because you guys can't click on links, but it is in my bio for you guys to pre-order my book. If you guys haven't already, please do so. This is one of the best ways to make sure that you can get it as soon as possible before everybody else. And we have a super fun, exciting announcement about pre-orders coming next week as well. So we're going to hang out in the chat for a second. If you guys have any guest suggestions, if you have any topic suggestions, if you have any thoughts about the stream or general musings about life, drop them in the chat real quick before we wrap things up. Old Man Trucker says, I would love to have a discussion on what I mentioned earlier about robotics and AI taking a lot of people's jobs away. How do we supplement the incomes of millions of people out of work? That's fascinating. Interesting. Alex says, Brett Cooper, Michael Knowles, and more Catholic content creators can work on all of those things for you. Anybody else have any thoughts? We'll give you a few more seconds. Just hanging out. Your guys' Instagram comments are taking much longer to come through on my computer, so we'll pull them up on here. Convos on men's health. Fascinating. I love that. Love. Jonathan Rumi. Great suggestion. Brett Cooper. Love it. You guys have a lot of good ones. All right, I'm working on it. I will work on all of these things. Amala Ekpanobi. Ask her about the path from being a leftist to becoming a conservative. Why do you live in Florida? Is Bidenomics working? That's fascinating. Morgan Zeggers, Grace Riley, Kellyanne Brooking. They're all great. I love them. So we will definitely try to work on that. All right, guys. Thank you for your suggestions. I really appreciate it. We always want to take your guys' thoughts into account on the stream, because it is just as much about you as it is about what we want to talk about from my end. So before you go, please do me a huge favor if you haven't already, and follow or subscribe to whatever platform you're watching on right now. That way you know every single time we go live on Monday and every day after that. We're back for the stream next Monday at 3-ish Eastern time. Locals, we're going to jump over to you right now for our post-stream Q&A for a few minutes, and it's going to be a fun themed one, so get excited for that. Dropping the link for you guys to join right now in our live chat. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Getter, and Instagram. We will see you guys Monday afternoon. Locals, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.